One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges. A host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart steel and a spirit unbroken. He rides on two wheels ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar. Insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow. He takes his stand, refusing to submit. Insane wheels hears back on cry. Metal and mayhem will never die. Witches report he pays his way. More legend in the making day by day.
Well. Good morning to you guys. Hopefully you're all enjoying your TGIF, your Friday morning. I definitely know the hell we are. Very nice. So, we got a lot to discuss this morning. It's actually a humongous news morning. We've got 14 stories that we got to get through. And usually we kind of average about 8 or 9 stories. But when we start pushing it like this, we might be running a little longer than we normally do. Usually we go and try to condense everything for an hour, but today it may be an hour and 15 minutes. I don't know. We'll still aim for an hour. But nonetheless, the way that I have this labeled is government funding latest, as well as Minneapolis ICE updates, Trump taps a new Fed chair. Yes, that did happen this morning. And top stories. So obviously I couldn't condense everything into the title. So let me go ahead and just give you guys a rundown of what we're looking at. Washington State Senate passes bill banning law enforcement face coverings. So this is, of course, over there in Washington State, by the way. That happened yesterday. It was actually a fairly large story. FBI agents search Fulton County, Georgia election facility. Now, as you guys know, we've been following the quote-unquote fraud that is happening from the 2020 election in Fulton County, Georgia. And then Georgia officials actually speak out after they got raided by the FBI. Holy shit. Then we have Minneapolis Mayor Frey on federal immigration crackdown. I can only imagine him doing a little bit of speaking outside or speaking on both sides of his mouth. Nonetheless, Senate update, 7 Republicans joined Democrats to block government funding package. Now, why would those 7 Republicans join the Democrats in shutting down the government? I don't understand. All right, and then we got Trump signs initiative to address drug addiction. Now, I'm not really sure what that whole thing is about, but we're going to investigate ourselves, obviously. Trump on home prices, quote, I want to drive housing prices up. I'm sure that's what you want to do, but I'm not sure if the housing bubble is necessarily conducive for that environment. But we'll see. Trump endorses deal to avoid government shutdown. Now, that happened yesterday evening. And then Trump orders this morning reopening of Venezuelan airspace. That's a big deal, actually. And then we also had a breaking story 3 hours ago. Trump taps Kevin Warsh as new Federal Reserve chair. So he's going to be the new Fed chair for the Federal Reserve. So it's going to be interesting to watch that. Anyways, and then Trump reacts to new video of Alex Preddy, the one that we actually talked about where he was fighting ICE 11 days earlier, and then he spit on an agent and then kicked a tail light out of a agent's car vehicle. Nonetheless, Trump made some comments. He actually made a Truth Social on it. So we're going to see that here in a minute. And then, of course, Don Lemon. Don Lemon arrested over Minnesota church protest. Then, and that was just, let me go ahead and see how long ago that was. That was just 2 hours ago. He got arrested by the feds. And then 56 minutes ago, Democrats, White House reach government funding bill deal. Now, I'm not really sure what the deal is with this, but just as of 56 minutes ago, it says President Donald Trump announces that Republicans and Democrats in the Senate have reached a deal to move forward with parts of a funding package. Why just parts? Very interesting. And then Luigi Maggioni, we have an update on him, won't face death penalty, judge rules. Holy shit, man. We got a humongous news morning this morning. So before we get all into it, let's go ahead and do our call to actions, and then we'll get right into this. Make sure you guys hit that like button, double tap the screen if you guys are on the vertical side. Also hit that subscribe button if you guys are new. This is what we do Monday through Friday, and then Saturday morning we have members only. But let's go ahead and get the money part over. Please consider becoming a member, starting only at $3.99 a month. Making sure we're not breaking the bank out there with anybody, but check it out. This is what allows us to be on these airwaves as well as have these lights on. So thank you guys for becoming members and staying members. Little side note here, follow my Instagram at BallValveTV, where I post everything behind the scenes of not only my life, but as well as the show, Millennial Food Time, breaking news, as well as the campaign trail. So make sure you guys hit me up. It's a great way to get a hold of me one-on-one. We also have a Discord server for all of you legends. Make sure you guys join up on that. I've got a link down in the description down below of any video that we do. And then last but not least, all super chats, super stickers, gifted memberships, membership signups are, of course, all going to be presented live and shouted out onto the show. But if you guys would like to skip that YouTube 30% brutal cut that they take from your hard-earned cash, then we have these platforms scrolling around the screen. And, of course, I'll read out whatever comes our way. I've got my email up, and we'll read it out loud just like a super chat. So make sure you guys interject with your voice there. We got Sterling Will, by the way, coming in, gifting out 5 gifted memberships. Let's fucking go. Thank you so much for that. It definitely is not only helping me, but it's helping 5 others in the community, man. So I very much appreciate that. So make sure you guys tomorrow, if you guys are getting any gifted memberships right now, make sure you guys tune in tomorrow morning for members only at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, 11 Eastern. It's a great time, and we don't talk about the ongoings of what is happening Monday through Friday. We actually have a good time on members only. We try to not necessarily talk so much in politics. We try to have a good time and laugh a little bit. So, and by the way, I want to give a special shout out to, we got Sick Bastard, the duct tape community coming in and rating us, as well as Carney's Ride. Thank you guys. I very much appreciate your guys' support and all the legends from over there, man. So, real quick, let me go ahead and say hi to a few of you guys. We got Warland in the building, as well as Steve Easy. Good morning to you guys. We got Rabbit of Chaos, as well as Motobomb Virginia. Yes, sir. We got Rabbit of Chaos. My brother Dean. Great to see you, bro. We got Frank, as well as Lappy. Good morning to you guys, man. We got Gary, as well as TNT. Thank you guys for hanging out. We got Steve Posey and Carney's Ride saying like, share, subscribe, and become a member. Yes, sir. Facts. We got Alfred Patterson. Good morning, kind sir. Great to see you in the chat as well. We're scrolling down. We got Crystal Kitten, as well as Carrie. Good morning, guys. Thank you for being here. We got Dylan Patterson. Good morning to you guys. Thank you for being here. Let's see. Steve Easy saying, damn, that's huge. Yes, there's a lot of shit going on right now. The news media right now is, I mean, I swear, it's an abundance of shit going on right now. Let's see. We got TVT as well. Good morning. Great to see you in the chat. We got Sick Bastard as well. And Pablo, good morning to you guys. We got Lily as well. Thank you all for joining us this morning. Let's get right into this. We're going to start this off with Washington State Senate passes bill banning law enforcement face coverings. Now, they're in particularly talking about federal agents, right?
And I do want to stick with immigration at this point and law enforcement in general. Popping up some video right here on your screen as we head over.
What's up, Dana Lynn? Hopefully you're enjoying your morning so far, your Friday. By the way, you got to come join us on the YouTube side of things. I also stream it to Facebook too, but go to Insane Wheels on YouTube, and that's where we're all at. So, by the way, if you guys are in here, make sure you guys hit that like button as well as double tap the screen if you're on the vertical side. I very much appreciate you guys.
to Washington State. This is going to be with the help of our Fox 13 Seattle team. We know that there is a bill that was aimed at limiting the use of face coverings there by law enforcement. It's moving one step closer to becoming law after passing.
Well, according to Washington State so far, Steve Easy, but we'll see if this gets overruled or what's going to happen here.
The state Senate. Sean Chitnis over at Fox 13.
You got to remember, this is on the state Senate side.
Seattle joining us now live to discuss everything related to that. Sean, thank you so much for being here. What do we know?
Hey, Josh, good morning. Yeah, so as you mentioned, this just passed the state Senate. This is down in Olympia.
FAFO, good morning. By the way, I got a question for this Sean guy on the right.
Why are you gay?
Just asking a question.
And so what this would allow, if it becomes law, is if anyone is detained by a law enforcement officer who is violating this new policy, that could be by wearing a face covering like a ski mask or a gaiter, that person could then sue that officer for damages. Now,
sue that officer for damages for wearing a face mask?
Stop the cap.
Bruh.
there are some exceptions to what would be covered under this new law. Let's go over some of them.
Good morning.
For example, if that officer is part of an undercover operation, if they are part of a SWAT team, or if that officer needs to wear protective medical or weather gear. Now, Democratic sponsors and the governor have said that this bill is in response to mass federal immigration raids, and they say it's part of a larger attempt to increase oversight of federal immigration enforcement in Washington state. Critics have argued, though, that it compromises officer safety and may face legal challenges regarding federal law. There's an argument that in this particular case, federal law would overrule anything that this new state law would protect.
I had law enforcement tell me personally and thank me for the comments I made when this bill was being exact. So I want to be very, very clear. This is not an anti-police bill.
Now, in my opinion anyway, this opens a hazard to federal officers who are
Virginia Chaos, good morning.
our neighbors, who live amongst us, who are trying to do a good job and be safe, and they're real people too.
And there you have a Democrat.
All right, and so I think that's all we're going to really get from this story. We'll see if anything actually goes off from this. Now, again, like I said, that's on the state Senate side for Washington State, so I'm not really sure how that's going to move forward and if it's going to, how long it'll move forward for before it's challenged. Nonetheless, FBI agents search Fulton County, Georgia election facility. Now, as you guys know, we started covering yesterday regards to Fulton County, Georgia. There is some quote unquote election fraud that they are looking into for 2020, and the FBI actually raided them. And I actually have the Georgia officials speak after FBI raid. So we're going to get into both of these stories real quick. Let's go ahead and bring this up. And 3, 2, 1. All right, quickly before we get into this, real quick, we must all embrace our fuck ups.
Don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. You are going to fuck up again in the future, quite possibly in a most spectacular fashion. Why worry about yesterday's fuck ups when you have tomorrow's fuck ups to look forward to? You are a fuck up, and fucking up is part of your growth process. Embrace the process.
Shit. All right, let's get into this.
Right now, I do want to get you to some of the other big stories that we are following and take a live look over the city of Atlanta at this hour as we continue to follow all of the latest playing out in Fulton County. That is, of course, where Atlanta is. Popping up this video for you on your screen as FBI agents executed a search warrant Wednesday at the Fulton County Elections Office near Atlanta. A spokesperson for the agency said that agents were, quote, executing a court-authorized law enforcement action at the county's main election office in Union City, just south of Atlanta. There are a lot of thoughts and feelings on all of this here.
That looks like part of a little bit of the, I mean, not maybe after the raid, and now they're like doing the search of the building or something.
Bring in Commissioner Mo Ivory of Fulton County, Georgia, to discuss all of this. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today.
Thank you. Thank you. How are you?
Good, good. And first off, I just kind of wanted to ask you here your thoughts.
Heard that, Lily. I heard that.
Thoughts overall about the situation playing out there, because you have been vocal that you're not quite sure this was the correct action.
Sure. I mean, we were served with a warrant yesterday, and the FBI showed up to secure the 2020 ballots and documents that have been archived for several years now. And so it was quite a surprise to
Yeah, 6 years, by the way.
our workers who come to work every day in Fulton County to administer our elections.
What's up, Wade-L? Hopefully you're enjoying your Friday morning so far. Definitely know the hell we are. Shit.
To make sure that all folks in Fulton County, all voters have easy process to vote. And you can imagine that they are getting ready for all that we have coming in 2026 with primaries on May 19th and the general election in November. So it was quite a surprise when the FBI showed up.
What information, if any, did county officials get from the federal authorities before that search warrant was executed?
Well, we didn't get any information. We have some pending cases right now over these documents, which were due to come up, a civil case due to come up on February 9th, where the judge would be deciding whether or not to unseal these documents in a proper format where they would then be copied and,
What's up, Charles? Good morning to you. By the way, if you're on the vertical side, so you can't see her, but Lucy's on the couch. If you come over to the horizontal, she's right there. All right. We're going to go ahead and move on. We're going to get into right back into this, so I apologize. Just had to point it out. All right, here we go.
Procedure of reviewing those documents would happen, but it seems that they could not wait until that civil case was happening, and instead a criminal warrant was issued to come and pick up those very documents that were due to be discussed in that civil case.
Did you have a chance to look at the search warrant in any way? Did they let you see it? And if so, what did it say?
I did see the search warrant. And it said that
she's lagging.
They were there to get the 2020 ballots. At first, the first search warrant was procedurally incorrect. It was to the Registrations and Elections Office and
Listen, it's safety first. Safety first, bro.
Documents that have been in the archives for several years. Remember, we're talking about documents from 6 years ago that had already been archived. Archived documents are in the hands of our clerk of Superior Court. So that change had to be made procedurally on the warrant because it was first issued to the wrong entity. So served on the wrong entity. So it was then corrected, and then they came back, and that's when the documents began to be loaded.
What is the county doing to essentially secure the security, the integrity of
Yo, those are some radical fucking glasses, bro. That's insane. Definitely looks like maybe I should just keep my mouth shut. That's what I'm gonna do.
Excuse me, of elections there.
Oh, well, we're doing what we've always done. We've made our elections fair, open, and transparent to all voters. This issue of whether the 2020 ballots were counted correctly is over. It's been litigated over and over again, and courts have found through numerous litigation cases, through numerous pieces of litigation and cases, that there has been nothing found to have been a problem or illegal or fraud or any of the allegations in the 2020 election. So this is just another attempt to distract, to cause chaos, to cause distrust in Fulton County, but it has already been adjudicated that there was nothing.
Okay, again, if you guys say there's absolutely nothing, then why even react? Just be like, yeah, there ain't shit here. Go look around. Do what the fuck you need to do, but there ain't shit. You don't have to defend a negative, right?
Improper done in any of the elections that Fulton County has administered. 2020, 2024, which nobody ironically seems to have a problem with, nor what is happening in 2026. So this is all just another attempt.
Listen, Dean, I'm just going to be honest. We're blaming the lefties today for my left-handed tobacco use. Absolutely.
By the administration to
she's got some bad internet, cuh.
Distrust in the voters in Fulton County, and voter our elections in a truthful, honest, and fair way for all voters. It doesn't matter who you're voting for in Fulton County. It matters that we allow everybody the access and the right to vote, and that's what we do.
For any voters, and you just touched on this, but any voters who are concerned, what assurances can you give them that this investigation is not going to affect any future elections there in Fulton County?
I can assure them that we have a team of dedicated, wonderful employees who, despite having to deal with this continuous attack and the continuous stress put on them by our federal government, come to work every single day to administer fair and free elections. They are there to work to make sure that everything is done properly. We have a beautiful facility that is equipped to handle all types of concerns in elections, and we in Fulton County, and we do that. And so I would tell voters that
This is just a lot of cope. You know what I mean? It's just, I hear a lot of cope.
Emotional, damn it!
We're going to move on, though, because we have Georgia officials speak after the FBI raid, and we have that right here for all of us to go ahead and hear.
Most importantly, this is by no means over. This is by no means over. And we're grateful for everyone around the country.
Honestly, dude, I'm going to be honest. This isn't just for Georgia. This goes for the United States. The U.S. Senate and our U.S. House of Representatives, I'm telling you, man, I don't understand why we got fucking people in there that are like 90. What are we doing? Like this guy right here, this guy, holy fuck, dude. He looks like he's had a rough life. I'm just saying. But why do we do this? We got to stop electing in these fuckers and get them elected out. You know what I mean? So, anyways, just wanted to point that out.
Who is in this fight with us, and they're with us from every corner of this great nation. Any honest review of these files will show what every previous
What's up, Tiffany? Good morning to you, and hopefully you're enjoying your Friday.
review has shown. Fulton County elections are fair and lawful, and the outcome of the 2020 election will not change, period. We talk about voter protections. Now, we do not know where our election records have been taken or what will happen to them now that they're out of our control. While they were here, they were safe and they secure. Once they left Fulton County, our election center, I don't know where they are. I don't know who has them. I don't know what they're doing with them. We can no longer be held responsible for those ballots and other data that was seized yesterday. But what I'm hoping that we will stand together to ensure that no data is ever weaponized. Poll worker protection. After the 2020 elections, Fulton County poll workers
Definitely let Lee know to drive safe. I mean, you guys are dealing with ICE up there, so make sure you guys be good and safe. Always appreciate you.
endured brutal and targeted harassment. Now, it is imperative that data from the 2020 election not be used to further harass our poll workers who have already endured so much. Fast forward, this year, 2026 elections. This week's activities show that Fulton County is still much a target.
Listen, you guys stand on 10 and all that shit. That's cool, but listen, I stand 5 toes down and a blade, all right? So look out. I'm still ready for them fades. Shit, come on. You want to get crazy? I don't turn down shit. Let's go.
And I'm told that I am personally a target. I'm a big boy. Now, while we've grown accustomed to name calling and rhetoric, we will not give 1 inch to those who seek to take control of our elections. Now, hear what I just said. We will not give 1 inch to those who seek to take control of elections in Fulton County. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. We're going to fight this in court with every resource that we have. And again, I'm very grateful to the support that is coming to us from around the country. Time and time again, the law has been on our side. And the greatest legal minds in the country agree it will be once again. I want to thank the local and national legal communities for their overwhelming support to us in this moment in the history of Fulton County, Georgia. Thank you.
All right, that was brutal to listen to. I'm not going to lie. And I have to put it out, though. There's a lot of things that I put out that I actually don't like. Of course, that happens all the fucking time. That's the aspect of reporting fact, you know? So anyways, we're going to move on into Minneapolis. Mayor Fry on federal immigration crackdown. So let's go ahead and hear what he's got to say on this. Now, we're not going to listen to his entire thing here, but we are going to get the monologue.
Well, this is exactly the group therapy.
Can you guys please adjust his microphone, please? Like, where's the audio engineers? Why is it blaring like that?
Session that I needed.
They got lots of DEI hires for the soundboard and the audio engineers. I see.
The defenders of parks and streets, which indeed is an honorable profession, we are now becoming the defenders of our republic and the defenders of democracy. And it is heartwarming to be here with all of you because, you know, I see your name on amicus briefs. I see your faces on TV. I feel the support from across.
What's up, Brother Straight? Hopefully you're enjoying your Friday morning.
The entire country, and we recognize that one great American city is experiencing an invasion.
Well, it used to be an American city, and there was an invasion, yes, of illegal immigrants, absolutely.
That is an invasion on our democracy, on our republic, and on each and every one of us. And the fact that you all are standing up means the world.
Hold on, I got something for you.
Why are you gay?
Thank you. You know, never in a million years did I think that we would be in this place.
Why did they change it? Oh, there we go.
Troops and federal agents by the thousands have been deployed on a great American city where the Department of Justice is used as a weapon to...
Is the OCD fucking you up a little bit because it's hanging off to the left a little bit?
Silence dissent, where the very foundational principles of our democracy and of our republic
or the pattern of it
are questioned. You know, I didn't take this job to get into the business of defending democracy.
What's up, Autumn? Good morning.
See, I did it because being a mayor has always been my dream job.
Naomi, good morning.
There's great honor in filling potholes. It is noble to keep people safe and to build affordable housing. That work which we do every single day is foundational to the principles of our republic, and all the same, we find ourselves in a different position right now. We are on the front lines of a very important battle, and it's important that we aren't silenced, that we aren't put down. This is not a time to bend our heads in despair or out of fear that we may be next, because if we do not speak up, if we do not step out, it will be your city that
Hold on. By the way, I got a Cash App that I'm about to read here. It's a big one, so give me a second.
Next. For those of you that have been watching the news and what's happened in Minneapolis, I'll tell you, it is that bad.
Okay, real quick. We got my man Virginia Chaos coming in with $20 fucking on the Cash App, man. I very much appreciate that. Saying, appreciate you giving your time. And then hashtag Virginia Chaos. My man, thank you so much. I'm very honored to be able to do this Monday through Friday. I know that sounds cliche as fuck, but I actually mean that shit. Like, I hope that you guys see that I take it serious. I'm here 30 seconds early every day. You know, I make sure that I take it fucking serious. And I also enjoy it. You know, I have a good time doing it. So thank you for that.
People's constitutional rights have been trampled. Thousands of federal agents have descended on a city that has 600 police officers. 600 police officers and somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000 federal agents, ICE, and Border Patrol. People have been indiscriminately pulled off the street. Discrimination takes place only on the basis of are you Somali, are you Latino, or are you Southeast Asian?
No.
And then
no, that's not the questions. The questions are that very simple. Are you an American? Oh, you're not an American. Okay, it's time for your ass to go. You know what I mean? Oh, we got Steve Easy in the building. We got $2 coming in from Steve saying straight ain't allowed in school zones. Shit. Well, I very much appreciate the $2, my man. Thank you very much for that. By the way, we got Baked in the building. Shout out to my man. Good morning to you. Hopefully you're enjoying your Friday.
American citizens have been yanked away from their homes after that solely because they look like they are from Mexico or Ecuador or Somalia. That's not how we operate in America. In America, we have these foundational principles of law. We abide by our Constitution. The rule of law is not just something that you say, but it is something that we practice each and every day. And as mayors, we know that. As mayors, we operate in the reality business. It is a reality that we've got to keep people safe on a daily basis. And by the way, we do that, partnering with a number of different jurisdictions, working with our federal government. In Minneapolis, we've worked extensively with the ATF and the FBI and the DEA, the U.S. Attorney's Office, to successfully drive down crime. And despite what you may hear on different media channels, crime is down in virtually every category and virtually...
Okay, so let's just grant that to be true. Yeah, maybe your violent crime may be down, but your fraud is up, you know?
Bruh.
Just saying.
Every neighborhood of Minneapolis.
Real quick, we got my brother Straight coming in with the $1.99 saying Steve eats corn the long way. Well, I very much appreciate the $2 and the argument there. You know what I mean? I respect that. I respect it.
Minneapolis is a safe city. It is less safe when chaos reigns supreme. It is less safe when families do not feel comfortable going to school or buying food at the grocery store because they're worried that their very family might get ripped apart. It is less safe when we have roving bands of agents marching down the street just looking for somebody who might be concerned. And I gotta tell you, everybody is concerned when you have that
Mountain Woman, these guys are crazy, aren't they?
Kind of occupation. And so we've been very clear. The Operation Metro Surge needs to end. This kind of conduct and siege needs to stop, not just in Minneapolis. It needs to stop nationwide.
All right,
Well, I got something for you.
Stop the cap.
do have a better audio source for Mayor Fry. We're going to turn to that now.
Stop nationwide. What's become clear to me is this is obviously not about safety.
Well, at least now we got a little bit better audio. That's a W.
This is not even about immigration. This is about silencing a narrative or a political position that differs from that of a federal administration. We've seen this kind of conduct in other countries. We cannot see it right here in America. This is not a Democratic or a Republican issue. Never once have I made this partisan. This is a foundational principle of making sure that the endurance of our republic can continue on. It may seem like I'm talking too much on the macro level, or maybe this is a concerning thing to say, but I got to tell you, we're seeing it in our streets right now. And it is up to each and every one of us to partner together, to work together, to protect those ideals that we hold firm. The power of the federal government.
You know what's funny about that, Baked? I almost said something, but then I was like, yeah, I'll wait and see if there's anything that goes, you know, if anyone ever tries to use that argument. No, there ain't no free speech in this bitch. No. I decide what fucking goes. That's just the way it goes. Listen, I don't like the way you fucking look. You're out. You know what I mean? It's just the way it is. Shit.
Government is awesome. The military force that they have, they got tanks.
What's up, Brandon?
They got bazookas. They can lay siege on American cities with thousands of agents and even troops, far outnumbering that of local police department. In Minneapolis, we've heard them say that they will end this siege when we hand over voter rolls. We've seen them attack and invade not just with this occupation, but also with the Department of Justice being used as a weapon.
Okay, we're going to allow one more minute of crying. One more minute, because we got so many I should just end it now. You know what? That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to end it now. It's my shit. I can do it whatever I want. Shit. All right, we're moving on. Senate update. 7 Republicans joined Democrats to block the government funding package. Now, we also have another update on a chronological timeline of this funding package. Now, apparently some things went through the Senate and got cleared just like minutes ago. I'm talking like 50 minutes ago. But it wasn't the whole funding package. It was only, I guess, a part of the funding package. So I'm not really clear on what that is. We're going to find that out, obviously, here together. But let's go ahead and figure out what's going on with these 7 Republicans that joined the Democrats to block out the government. I don't understand. So we're going to bring this up and discuss it. You know what we haven't done yet, though, bro? I mean, we haven't done it. We got to do the money part.
All right, just get the money part done.
Give me money. Money me. Money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
It's actually true, though. Very much appreciate the consideration.
Denied.
Here we go.
Of course, so much of our attention has been there in Washington, D.C., as Senate Democrats and the White House are now in intensive negotiations over
What's up, Josh, my man, over there on the Facebook side of things. Happy Friday.
how to avert an extended partial shutdown of the federal government that's set to start early Saturday morning. The two sides have not yet reached an agreement. And in fact, a test vote on funding failed a bit earlier today. I want to put up this tweet that we have there from Fox News detailing what we're seeing there. The Senate test votes fails 45 to 55 as 7 Republicans vote no. And so we do know that Senate Democrats, led by Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, have committed to staying united in voting no on any bill that funds the Department of Homeland Security under the current language that's listed in the bill. And on the other side of the aisle, as we see there.
By the way, real quick before she continues there, make sure you guys hit that like button. We've got over 180 people in here. Make sure you guys double tap that screen if you're on the vertical side. Hit that like button if you're on the horizontal. Listen, you guys don't have to like all the craziness that's happening around the world and in our nation, but you guys can like it for me and what we do here. So thank you guys for that.
There are Republicans who are choosing to join them. So to talk about more about this, I want to bring in one of those Republicans, Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson. Thanks so much for being with us here on Live Now from Fox.
Oh, shit.
Well,
we got my brother Steve Easy getting his MRI done today. That's right. Well, be safe out there. Always appreciate you. And give us an update when you get back.
Very basics. Earlier today, we just put up the tweet from Fox News. There was a test vote that failed. You were one of 7 Republicans who decided to mark in the nay category. I would like you to take some time now to explain what led you to that decision.
Well, there's a host of reasons, but I think just in general, I'm disgusted by this process. I've been here 15 years now. We should have passed 180 appropriation bills before the beginning of the fiscal year in which they're going to fund. We've passed 6. That's a 96.7% failure rate. As a result, I think it's time to shift the paradigm here and eliminate shutdowns for all time. So I've as Chairman of Homeland Security back in, I think, 2018, 2019, I passed out of my committee a bill called Preventing Government Shutdowns. I have an even simpler bill that we did vote on, the Eliminate Shutdown Act. Unfortunately, all the Democrats voted against that. In the midst of the shutdown, I proposed, and we voted on it twice, every Republican senator voted for this, the Shutdown Fairness Act, which just pays people for shutdowns. So again, none of those bills were included in the House packages. When I think if you would have included the Shutdown Fairness Act, since I have 17 unions supporting it, I don't think Democrats could have objected to having that included in the House bill, but it wasn't. So here we are. A couple days before the government runs out of funding, we're being threatened with shutdowns again. And this is exactly what the uniparty appropriators want. They want that threat of shutdowns so that they can pass appropriation bills that we, by and large, can't afford. The other problem with this one is
April 11th, 1995. I am 30 currently right now.
we have a resolution in the Republican conference of the Senate to not engage in earmarking. Now, that was a big debate when I got here in 2011 between Jim Inhofe and Tom Coburn of Oklahoma. Senator Inhofe made some good points. Can't let the administration make all the spending decisions. But Senator Coburn, I think, won the day on that one, said, yeah, but earmarks are the gateway drug. And we were $14 trillion in debt when I came here. Now we're approaching $39 trillion. Something is completely whacked out here. Something is completely out of control. And earmarks are that gateway drug. It's probably the only reason, though, that these bills are going to pass. So what I was requiring is serious consideration.
Here, you want to hear some more fucked up? I graduated high school 2020 or 2013, not 2020. 2013 is when I graduated high school. That might fuck you up a little bit.
Passage of the Shutdown Fairness Act, and even better yet, the Eliminate Shutdown Act. None of those is included, but what is included is about $14.3 billion of earmarks. The ranking member of the Senate Appropriation Committee has over a half.
No way, damage That's awesome.
$1 billion in earmarks alone. Now the 3 or 4 senators have over $400 billion. I mean, that is grotesque. It's, again, the gateway drug. It's one of the reasons we're approaching $39 trillion in debt and mortgaging our children's future.
And so as we're talking a lot more about this potential shutdown, partial shutdown, even when folks at home, fellow Americans, they hear the word shutdown, it does strike fear in their hearts, especially after the year we had last year where several folks weren't getting paid for that period of time that the government was not running. So is there anything that you're able to see here other than, of course, your proposed bill that would eliminate the factor of a shutdown, but something that would bridge the gap between the two parties?
Now, hold on. Before they kind of do this speculative thing, we actually have an update on this. So instead of us just doing kind of speculation there, him explaining what the bill, what this whole thing is going to be, we already have that update. So I'll give you guys that here in a minute because we're on a chronological timeline right now. Okay, we're going to move on. Trump signs initiative to address drug addiction. Now, I'm not really sure what this whole thing is and what his ideology is on this, but we're going to present this and figure it out together. And we're not going to play this whole thing because it's 23 minutes long. Obviously, we've got, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more stories to get through. And usually we have 8 or 9 stories in total. So we've got a large morning and it's already 40 minutes in. That's rough. All right, let's go ahead and get this in. We may be an hour and a half today. I don't know. I'm not used to going over an hour. Let's go and do this.
Out right now to President Trump inside of the Oval Office at this event. Let's listen in.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Busy
day. Right? We had a good morning, and now we're having a good evening, and we're going to a premiere in a little while. But there's nothing more important than what we're doing right now, in my opinion. Today, I'm signing a historic executive order to combat the scourge of addiction and substance abuse. Big deal in this country and probably in every country. We're calling it the Great American Recovery Initiative. I'm grateful to be joined by co-chairs of this sweeping new effort, Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and Senior Advisor to the White House Great American Recovery Initiative, Catherine Burkham. Thank you both very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Here's Bobby.
Yeah, Pablo, 31 in April.
Hello, Bobby. Come here, give me a hand. I love Bobby. You're doing a great job, Catherine. Right? Do we think so? Who's doing a better job, him or your husband? Maybe not for them. He's doing a good job.
I'm just getting started.
They're both doing very well, and now you're going to do better than both of them. Thanks as well to Attorney General Pam Bondi, Secretary Doug Burgum, Secretary Scott Turner, Secretary Doug Collins, Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, who's got some pretty good news, Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty McCary, NIH Director Dr. Jay Bhattacharya. Oh, I've gotten good at that. Administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, Dr. Mehmet Oz, who's doing a fantastic job, and Director of the Office of National Drug Control Policy, Sarah Carter. I also want to introduce a great friend of mine who happened to be here, and he's very much committed to this. He knows how important it is for our country. He's built a tremendous American company. It's called WeatherTech. I guess you've seen the ads. I've seen the ads. I think they're great ads, but more importantly, it's a great product. David McNeil. David, congratulations on what you've done.
No, straight. That's false. That's fake news, by the way. I'm involved in politics. Of course, I'm not going to have a full-on beard.
It's incredible.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Really great. And the
I don't like the look anyways.
WeatherTech, Ryan.
For me, I actually like the way that I, facial hair-wise, I actually like the way that I look.
Granger, Ryan, congratulations. What a great job. They built an American company, and it's a thriving company, too, so with a great product.
Great to be here in America.
When I was in the private sector, I'd always buy the floor mats, but now that I'm president, I no longer have to buy floor mats. But you made a great floor mat.
Tommy, good morning. Drive safe.
Many of those with me today have personally known the heartache of a loved one taken by drug or alcohol addiction. I do. Just like millions of American families, every year we lose an estimated 300,000 people to drug and alcohol abuse, and the real number is probably much, much higher than that. Thankfully, drug overdose deaths plummeted by 21% in the last year. We're working very hard on it. We've closed the southern border, seized over 47 million fentanyl pills and 10,000 pounds of fentanyl powder. That's a record, and I have formally designated Dr. And I'll tell you what, we have a group of...
Trump, just get to it, bro. Please, just tell me what the fuck you're signing.
...of doctors, some of them behind me, who have just been incredible, and they've really wanted this, designated the drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. And for some reason, they didn't want to do that until we came along, but they are indeed foreign terrorist organizations, with our action in the Gulf of America. That sounds so nice when I hear the Gulf of America. Drugs entering our country by sea are down 97%.
Okay, we've heard this rhetoric before. Let's just skip ahead a little bit here.
For Catherine. But I'd like Bobby to say a few words on Catherine. Thank you very much, everybody. Please.
Mr. President, thank you for your leadership for signing an executive order that tells the truth about one of the greatest challenges that our country faces. Addiction is not a moral failure. It is a disease. It's chronic. It's treatable. And for too long, our nation has responded with fragmentation, with stigmatization, and silence instead of science, compassion, and coordination. Today, President Trump changes that. With the Great American Recovery Initiative, we finally bring the full strength of the federal government together across healthcare, law enforcement, housing, labor, faith communities, and the private sector to save lives, restore families, and rebuild communities that addiction has hollowed out. Nearly 50 million Americans suffer from substance use disorder. Many never receive treatment. Even more don't believe that help is possible. That is not because recovery doesn't work. It's because our systems have failed to reach the people where they are early enough, long enough, and with dignity. This initiative fixes that. We will align federal programs instead of letting them operate in silos. We will set clear, measurable goals and report honestly to the American people. We will use evidence-based care, modern science, and continuous support, just as we do for heart disease, diabetes, and other chronic illnesses. We will focus on prevention before addiction takes hold. We will intervene early. We will expand access to treatment that leads to real long-term
Yes, I forget the exact name for it, but yes.
recovery. And we will support re-entry because recovery does not end when treatment ends. It succeeds when people return to their families, their jobs, and their communities with purpose and with hope. As co-chair of this initiative alongside of Catherine Burgum, whose leadership and commitment strengthens this work, I pledge urgency, accountability, and honesty. Catherine and I share the experience of having been addicted and long-term recovery. But almost everybody in this room and almost everybody in our country has been touched by addiction. Steve Witkoff, who's here, had an extraordinary son, Andrew, who was a
Oh, I'm sure. Okay, let's go ahead and see if we get any other speakers here. Yes, we do. Let's go ahead and just see Trump sign it real quick.
It's just really one of the fantastic couples. So I appreciate it. What a beautiful job you've just done. And I'm going to give this to you.
What's up, Bob, up there in Canada? Good morning to you, kind sir. Hopefully you're enjoying your Friday so far.
You can figure out what you're going to do with Bobby, you know. But let's have a good picture of the two of them and everyone else. And I'd like to ask Steve Witkoff also to say a couple of words when we're finished, because he's a very special person who I knew very well, an incredible person. So if you don't mind, Steve, I'll ask you to do that in just a second, all right? Please, Bob.
All right. Looks good. All right, we're moving on. Trump on home prices. I want to drive housing prices up. Now, let's go ahead and see. That's his quote, by the way. Let's go ahead and see what he's got to say on this.
I'm going to ask Scott Turner to speak really quickly about
Now, I believe this was on his cabinet meeting yesterday.
housing, because in my opinion, I have very strong opinions on housing. That's what I did for a long time. I did good with it. But, you know, we got to get interest rates down even lower. They are now pretty low, but we got to get them lower. And I'm a big factor, to me, the biggest factor is interest rates for housing. Only in that, you know, you have a lot of people that have become wealthy in the last year because the house value has gone up. And, you know, when you get the housing, when you make it too easy or too cheap to buy houses, those values come down. I don't want those values to come down. We have millions of people that own houses, and for the first time in their life, they're wealthy because the house is worth $500,000 or $600,000 or more or less, but more money than it's ever been worth before. I don't want to do anything to knock that down, and so I want to be very careful with this. You know, you make housing, I can turn on housing immediately, but you make it too easy and you're going to knock the value down of people that own houses. I want to, for those people, those millions of people.
Yeah, me too, Stinson, actually. You know, in fact, let's just...
All right, just get the money part done. Give me money. Money me. Money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
True, though.
Denied.
All right.
That own houses, we're going to drive those values up, but we're also going to try making it easier for people to buy. The best thing that can happen for both groups of people is lower interest rates, and those interest rates are coming down. And with a proper, intelligent person at the Fed, that person will be able to work with us to get.
Yes, straight. It's actually something that we're going to be reporting on. I have the whole story right here. Just came out 2 hours ago. So yes.
Interest rates, and that covers all of the sins. It covers everything. Lower interest rates, keeps the values up for the people that have housing and lets other people buy housing. And Scott, if you could just expand quickly on that.
Yes, sir. You did allude to when we first came in, sir, our fiscal house in America was a mess. But because of your economic policies, the economy is thriving. And I do have some good news to share. As you said, good news. I hope this will make the interest rates continue to go down. But because of your policies, sir, home sales in December, they rose sharply to their strongest pace in 3 years. A lot of people, when we first came in, and particularly young people, were concerned and asking the question whether they would ever be able to afford to buy a house in America, which is the American dream. The 30-year fixed mortgage rate dipped to
I'm going to be kind of honest. I mean, as we were talking about my age, I've always grown up knowing that it's going to be near impossible to get a house. I mean, I really have to fucking make it in order for me to be able to buy, you know what I mean? And that's my ideology being in, Southern California originally. That's all you know. I mean, everything is $1 million fucking plus. It's just like, yeah, I guess I'm never going to see that. So that's unfortunate. But now you don't have to live in areas like that, but that's where I grew up. So that's all I knew. But there is, better cost of living in other states where where I live now, I pay like a third of what it was over there in California.
2-year lows, driving monthly payments down for the 2 years at the lowest levels. So more people can get a mortgage now. More families can be able to afford to get a home and achieve the American dream. At HUD last year, we helped and supported over 1 million people through FHA and Ginnie Mae to be able to buy a home. 500,000 of those were first-time home buyers, and hundreds of thousands of our veterans we supported. And so that's good news that millions of people.
Yeah, I'll come visit Texas, but I mean, I've been to Texas multiple times, but I know what you mean, like move-wise. I live in northern Alabama, and I don't want to move anywhere else. I love it here. Like, I actually love living here now. It's something that I've totally embraced. The culture, the aspect of it. It's like I came from behind enemy lines, you know what I mean? And so now finally I feel like this is where I was meant to be, kind of thing.
In our country are now beginning to buy homes. We also, sir, saw that you are, and we're working with you, making bold action to ban institutional investors from buying single-family homes. Those homes are for the American people. So, sir, thank you for your leadership on that. Also work with Director Pulte over at FHFA to buy $200 billion worth of mortgage-backed securities, driving down even more the cost to get a home. And so we're grateful for those actions. Also, the One Big Beautiful Bill has been tremendous, making the low-income tax credit increase, working with Secretary Bessent at Treasury to produce more projects and more homes in America. And the One Big Beautiful Bill also made our beloved opportunity zones permanent. And the media doesn't talk about opportunity zones very much, but I'll do it today because I know that they have been transformative in our country. Over 1 million people lifted out of poverty, sir, in opportunity zones, 300,000 new units of housing in opportunity zones, and a 3.4 increase in the value of houses.
All right, well, I'll let him finish this statement, and then we're going to move on.
Wait, we have to give him credit. Senator, he's a great guy. Tim Scott came to see me, first administration, first term, and he had this idea for opportunity zones, and he gave me the idea. We did it. We implemented it. It's one of the most successful programs in the history of our country, and nobody talks about it. The press doesn't talk about it, but I want to just tell you, Tim Scott, Senator, South Carolina, did a great job, right?
Did a wonderful job, yes, sir.
Did a good job. He's a good man.
All right, we're going to move on. We got an endorsement from Trump, or Trump endorses a deal to avoid government shutdown. Now, this is a little bit of the update regarding the government funding latest, as well as we have another update after this. So let's go ahead and bring this up, and we'll go ahead and discuss it. Just give me a sec. I'm just embracing fuck-ups and shit.
Don't beat yourself up over past mistakes. You are going to fuck up again in the future, quite possibly in a most spectacular fashion. Why worry about yesterday's fuck-ups when you have tomorrow's fuck-ups to look forward to? You are a fuck-up, and fucking up is part of your growth process. Embrace the process.
Embrace the process.
Oh my God!
Absolutely. All right, here we go.
Coming up on a new hour in just moments, and all eyes right now, Capitol Hill, because we are in just moments going to be hearing from Senate lawmakers as they try to work out a deal to avert a government shutdown. So here's what we are at right now. President Trump putting this out on Truth Social, saying the only thing that can slow our country down is another long and damaging government shutdown. I am working hard with Congress to ensure that we are able to fully fund the government without delay. Now, it's all going to come down down to timing because once the Senate does what they need to do, will there be enough time?
What's up, Bree? Good morning.
To get
Happy
the
Friday.
House members in to vote before the deadline comes. So let's break that all down for you. So right here on Live Now from Fox, I want to bring in our next guest to help break it all down. Dan Veroni, financial strategist on policies. Dan, thanks so much for joining us on Live Now from Fox. And, earlier in the day, it seemed like, okay, it looks like it's going towards this government shutdown. And then things started to reverse in the afternoon and early evening.
Yeah, it's certainly very encouraging. So when you compare this possible shutdown to the actual shutdown that happened a few months back, the difference is both parties, both sides were actually talking this time. And what had happened is that as we get to the 11th hour, that the president and Senate Minority Leader Schumer struck a deal. The deal is to separate the DHS, the Department of Homeland Security funding, from the other appropriations bills that were to be considered by the Senate.
Interesting. Okay, so somehow he moved the DHS funding package into something else. That's interesting.
So there are 6 others that will be separated. Those will be approved tonight. They will be then sent to the House. The House will not be back in session until Monday. The House will then pass these 6 appropriations bills, and the president will sign them sometime on Monday.
So technically, Dan, over the weekend, will there be this government shutdown, even though that they know they'll be getting some sort of work through on Monday?
So
let me correct the nomenclature, Naomi. I hop very quickly. Yeah. True though.
Technically speaking, there will be a shutdown. And the reason there'll be a shutdown, it'll only be very minor though, is that...
Yeah, you guys need to hit that like button, by the way. Let's get the likes up. I very much appreciate your laborious work. If you're on the vertical side, double tap the screen. Thank you for your laborious work.
The way our country works is that the Senate and the House both need to pass appropriations bills, and the president needs to sign them. So technically, tomorrow night at midnight, funding runs out for these 7 different appropriations. So that means you go into what would be a minor shutdown. But again,
be safe out there, Baked.
That will be rectified on Monday.
Yeah, this is a much different scenario like you were just talking about. But Dan, I think a lot of our viewers want to know, why does it always come down to the final moments here where it seems like maybe they could have been working on this weeks and weeks beforehand, but why does it always have that pressure of just hours to go before something happens?
An interesting thing about Congress in all the years in the last 4 decades that I've been following Congress, they don't have to decide until they have to decide. So the funding deadline is tomorrow night, so they have to decide. The other thing that I would say is that what happened in Minnesota this past weekend was an important event, and that caused Democrats to say, let's see what we can do to get this DHS funding taken out of these appropriations packages. And that's what was different this time. But typically, Congress doesn't decide until it has to decide.
That's so well said there, because, yeah, it always seems like these...
Yeah. Perfect. All right, let's go ahead and move on. We got Trump orders reopening of Venezuelan airspace, which is actually a big deal. So let's go ahead and bring this up. And here we go.
Welcome back, everyone, to Live Now from Fox. I'm your host, Mike Page. As we continue to roll on this Thursday evening, we want to bring you some international news that we are following for you in Venezuela. President Donald Trump announced that the commercial airspace over Venezuela would reopen after the Federal Aviation Administration released an emergency notice earlier in January to block civil flight operations of U.S. aircraft in the airspace. The notice came as the U.S. conducted strikes in Venezuela and captured dictator Nicolas Maduro. So we want to continue to get more information on this for you right here on Live Now from Fox. Bring in our next guest to help break it all down from Reuters, David Shepardson.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of the general consensus of people, Minnesotians, that they're happy that ICE is there. I've heard that.
Great to have you on, David. So what do we know here of these moves being made?
Inside the city, though, is a struggle.
You're right. Things are moving pretty quickly. So the president made this announcement, and then a few minutes later, American Airlines said it wants to reestablish.
Yeah, Prez, sometimes there's that glitch on our side. I'm not really sure how that works. Sometimes it happens on the vertical side. Sometimes you go to double tap it, and then it doesn't do the like thing. And I think that, I don't know, you have to exit out of the full screen, and it's so lame. Yeah, I don't know why that sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Service to Venezuela that had suspended in 2019. And just within the last hour, the Transportation Department has rescinded the 2019 order that prohibited U.S. airlines from flying to Caracas. Now, there's still few more steps that have to take place, right? The TSA has got to do a security review, and there's going to be I think the FAA is going to ensure that the air traffic control, facilities are up to snuff in Venezuela, because, the FAA has not really interacted with them for 7 years. So I think it's fair to say that this is going to happen in weeks or a couple months, but definitely the ball is rolling, starting with American. And I do think you could see United or Delta to join an interest in resuming flights. So it's definitely moving in that direction, but there's still some I's to dot and T's to cross.
It's so interesting to see, when things have been shut down for quite some time, just the levers that need to be made to get everything back open.
Absolutely.
Well, I'd imagine there's a lot of the process of being able to reopen an airspace after shutting something down to that magnitude. I'd imagine there is a lot of probably paperwork and shit.
And not just, this reminds me a little bit like when we reestablished service with Cuba, right? Part of it was just like, think about when you go to the airport, I got to have the terminal ready, and like the gate agent desks and other computers, and can you handle all the tickets, right? So there's a lot of logistics involved, but the biggest one is going to be security and safety, right? There's an interim government in Caracas, right? What's the safety situation like, especially near the airport? About a year ago or so, we saw flights suspended to Port-au-Prince in Haiti because of unrest in the area. So the FAA, the Transportation Board, would want to make absolutely sure that those flights are safe. But again, this is a big step, right? Lifting that order that was in place for 7 years. And part of it is, right, with not having air service, not being able to fly to the United States is a really isolating thing for a country, right? I mean, there aren't many countries where you can't fly to the U.S.
Okay, well, we know that, and we don't care about that. So we're going to move on. Next time, get yourself a better camera and better angle. All right, we're moving on. Trump taps Kevin Warsh as new Federal Reserve Chair. Now, this is a big deal. This just came out this morning, 4 hours ago. And this is a big story, obviously. We've been waiting for the announcement of who's going to be taking over Jerome Powell. So now it's going to be a man named Kevin Warsh.
We do have some breaking news just coming in here that we wanted to share with you. That pick has now been announced. So you're seeing this post here from President Trump as he announces Kevin Warsh as the new
Be safe out there, Frank. We'll see you on the flip side.
Fed chair. So here is what he said in full. He said, "I'm pleased to announce that I'm nominating Kevin Warsh to be the chairman of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System. Kevin currently serves as the Shepard Family Distinguished Visiting Fellow in Economics at the Hoover Institution and lecturer at the Stanford Graduate School of Business. Kevin received his AB from Stanford University and JD from Harvard Law School. He has conducted extensive research in the field of economics and finance. Kevin issued an independent report to the Bank of England proposing reforms in the conduct of monetary policy in the United Kingdom. Parliament adopted the report's recommendations. Kevin Warsh became the youngest Fed governor ever at 35 and served as a member of the Board of Governors of the Federal
He's 35 years old, dude. Wow.
Reserve System from 2006 until 2011 as the Federal Reserve's representative to the group of 20. In addition, he was administrative governor, managing and overseeing the board's operations, personnel, and financial performance. Prior to his appointment to the board from 2002 to 2006, Kevin served as special assistant to the president for economic policy and executive secretary of the White House National Economic Council. Previously, Kevin was a member of the Mergers and Acquisitions Department at Morgan Stanley & Co. in New York, serving as vice president and executive director. I have known Kevin for a long period of time and have no doubt that he will go down as one of the great Fed chairmen, maybe the best. On top of everything else, he is central casting and he will never let you down. Congratulations, Kevin. President Donald J. Trump.
Wow, big deal right there. All right, so you guys got to hear that real quick. We do have a quick update on Trump reacting to that new video of Alex Preddy getting involved with that ICE officer, 11 days, or ICE agent, multiple ICE agents actually. He got into a little scuffle, and he didn't even get arrested. He spit on an agent and then kicked out the, I guess, the rear tail light or whatever. And I saw the video and all of that, and he actually didn't get arrested over the whole ordeal, which I was shocked. But nonetheless, I guess Trump reacts to that video. So let's go ahead and bring this up, and we'll go ahead and discuss it briefly. It's very quick.
We're hearing from President Trump as well. Speaking on...
Uh-oh. Fucking... Let me see what happened there. Oh, they fucking took it down. Damn, that fucking sucks. All right, well, that's just the way of the road. Sometimes that does happen. That's not the first time that's ever happened. All right, we're going to move on, though. Unfortunately, we weren't able to see that. But Don Lemon arrested over Minnesota church protests just 3 hours ago. And yes, the feds came in and swooped him up. Let's go ahead and see what happened here.
As we are learning this breaking news that former CNN anchor Don Lemon has been arrested. Here's what we're learning. This is from Bill Malugin with Fox News saying, per multiple law enforcement sources, former CNN anchor Don Lemon was arrested by federal agents in Los Angeles this morning in connection to the storming of a church in Minnesota by anti-ICE agitators. We also do have some more social media posts as well that we'll put up on your screen here for you. But once again, as we just read there, this comes after Lemon followed and spoke to demonstrators who disrupted a church service in a video he posted to his YouTube channel. The New York Post also reporting that it is not immediately clear what charges he is facing at this time. This comes after former CNN host Don Lemon said during an interview last week that the Trump administration would go around a judge or retrofit a law to prosecute him after he followed agitators into a St. Paul, Minnesota church earlier this month. Also last week, a federal magistrate judge rejected the Justice Department's attempt to bring charges against Lemon. Lemon said that he needed to be in it for the long haul as well as keep calm and carry on. Lemon said after the DOJ called him out that he was just covering the protest and that it was an act of journalism. The agitators went to disrupt the service at St. Paul's City's church because they believed a pastor at the church had collaborated with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. So once again, we are bringing you this breaking news here. As we do know, Don Lemon arrested after that protest that disrupted that church service there in Minnesota. Now, we also do know that we heard from Homan a bit earlier this week as well. Immigration operations continuing in Minnesota. Just yesterday in White House Borders are Tom Homan's first briefing after taking over Operation Metro Surge, and he said they're working on a drawdown plan for federal agents in Minnesota, but it depends on cooperation with state and local officials. And this comes after Homan said he's had conversations with Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, the Minnesota Department of Corrections, Minnesota Attorney General, and other county sheriffs and local officials. And he said cooperation with local authorities, especially jails and prisons, will give federal agents better access to people in the United States illegally. This would then lead to fewer federal law enforcement on Minnesota streets. Homan said the drawdown plan of federal agents depends on cooperation and targets they have left to find. As for the number of federal agents in Minnesota, as of just yesterday, Homan would not provide a number. Previously, court records show there were more than 3,000 federal agents in the state as part of Operation Metro Surge. So this is some breaking news here, and we are actually working behind the scenes here to bring you some more information. All right, so my producer, I don't know if you just heard her, she just handed me an article. We're getting some new information here. So let me just read this. This is according to the Associated Press. A journalist, Don Lemon, has been arrested after he entered a Minnesota church and recorded anti-immigration enforcement protesters who disrupted a service in an incident that increased tensions between residents and the Trump administration. And that's according to his lawyers putting this out today. Lemon was taken into custody by federal agents in Los Angeles, where he had been covering the Grammy Awards. That's according to his attorney.
Here, I got you.
A bullshit. A bullshit. A bullshit. A bullshit.
A bullshit.
Attorney Abby Lowell. It's unclear what charge or charges he is facing in the January 18th protest. The arrest came after a magistrate judge last week rejected prosecutors' initial bid to charge him. And Lemon, who was fired from CNN in 2023,
What's up, Adriano?
He has said he has no affiliation to the organization that went into that church and that he was there as a journalist chronicling protesters. And we also do have this post here I'd want to read to you. This is from, again, Abby Lowell, his attorney, saying, quote, Don has been a journalist for 30 years, and his constitutionally protected work in Minneapolis was no different than what he has always done. The First Amendment exists to protect journalists whose role is to shine light on the truth and hold those in power accountable. A prominent civil rights attorney and at least two other people involved in the protests were arrested last week. Prosecutors have accused them of civil rights violations for disrupting a service at the city's church in St. Paul, where a local official with U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement serves as a pastor.
Interesting. Interesting. All right, we're moving on, though. Democrats, White House reach government funding bill deal. Now, this came out right before we went live. I mean, like minutes before we started going live. This and one other story, actually. Luigi Mangione. We have an update on him. But nonetheless, the new update on Luigi was during this live stream. So, all right, so let's go ahead and figure out what's going on here. This is our latest update on the government funding bill deal.
All right, a lot going on there in Capitol Hill. So to break it all down for us is Dr. Karen Holt. She's a political scientist with Virginia Tech. Thank you so much for joining us on Live Now from Fox this morning.
Now, usually I don't like hearing analysts on shit like this. I like to hear from the source. I don't necessarily particularly like doing that, but we are going to do that for this.
Good to be here. Thank you.
So just break down for us what we saw yesterday going on there on Capitol Hill, President Trump and Democrats, this funding deal. What do we know?
Wow, real quick. Speaking of funding deal, we got Agrillipus funding the stream with another five gifted memberships, man. I very much appreciate that. By the way, we have members only tomorrow morning, Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, 11 Eastern. And if you guys got one just now, make sure you guys tune in for that tomorrow because it's a great time. And we don't talk really about any of this shit. We actually have a good time laughing and screaming at one another. It's a great time. Anyways.
About that, and where does this go from here?
Thank you for that.
Well, what we think we know right now, and of course things are changing at a volatile pace as they often do around Capitol Hill when it comes to budget issues. What seems to have happened is that there was an agreement between Charles Schumer, the minority leader of the U.S. Senate, and members of the Trump administration to at least work out a plan that would ask the Senate to divide the full bill.
Man, Dean, great times. Great times. I missed that whole area of riding. You know, the riding was phenomenal. Of certain parts of California was just awesome to rip. And so I do miss those times for sure. So, but yeah, man, I wish I was there too to do that.
That they were voting on the so-called minibus from the House of Representatives to break it apart between 5 departments funding bills that then would go through the Senate and agree with the House in moving those forward to prevent shutdowns for those kind of agencies, but at the same time carve out the Department of Homeland Security in order to respond to some of the concerns of some Senate Democrats, but also some Senate Republicans too, about the activities of ICE in Minneapolis.
Yeah, and we've been sharing this post here from President Trump. This is
the one that we wanted to hear from this post, and then that video was taken down. It was privated. So this is actually the what I wanted to hear right here.
Latest we've heard from him on this as he shared this to Truth Social, saying he's really
trying. Real quick before she reads it, we got TVT coming in with the 9 months, saying hit that like and sub, free Canada from commies. I very much appreciate the 9 months, my man. Hopefully you've enjoyed those 9 months for damn sure.
To work to avoid this, but you know, a big talking point here. Democrats say they want curbs on ICE as part of this deal. So what kind of restrictions are realistically on the table here?
Well, there's a question, of course, of what the table is. If what the president and Minority Leader Schumer agreed to, what it would mean is that there would be an agreement in the Senate today that would have to go back to the House, at least on Monday, saying that the Senate would accept funding of all of the remaining five department appropriations bills through September. If that happens, then there is a 2-week carve-out for additional negotiations to occur on what happens with the Department of Homeland Security. As I understand it really quickly, what the Democrats are asking for are clear, explicit guarantees written into the appropriation bills as writers, if you will, saying that ICE and Customs and Border Patrol need to follow existing protocols for stopping immigrants, for detaining immigrants, and putting them through a due process system. They also are asking that there be clear guarantees that of working and greater coordination between the federal agency at the one level and state and local officials at the other levels in terms of information and evidence of cooperation. So those are the kinds of things that will be negotiated on. What I think Mr. Trump is trying to do is get some breathing time for the various parties to sit down and talk in more serious negotiations, which have been going on behind the scenes, but
So it's just kicking the can down the road, kinda.
Wasn't going to end by midnight tonight.
Right, and going off of my last question there, Democrats are threatening to block the broader spending bill, but really how much leverage do they actually have right now? And if the standoff continues,
That's a good question.
who's going to be the first to blink first, so to speak?
Well, this is difficult. One would imagine under the circumstances that this is going to be an issue that will be ultimately with a Republican president and Republican control of both the U.S. House and the U.S. Senate. One would imagine this would be resolved in the Republicans' favor. However, there are at least some Democrats who want to see what they can do to disrupt the entire funding package in the Senate. And senators have various kinds of...
Well, we heard earlier that 7 Republicans voted with the Democrats to shut down the government earlier, which I'm like, what the fuck, yo? What are you doing?
Have various kinds of privileges as individual senators, much as Lindsey Graham prevented a vote last night, because he has raised another kind of an issue that it once rolled into other bills. And so that's what we can't tell is going to happen today. But on the whole, I think you're right. Ultimately, the Republicans will dominate. It's a question of how long it will take and under what conditions that will take place.
And you know, Dr. Holt, we heard from Senate Majority Leader John Thune just last night saying there were snags on both sides.
Yes.
What does that tell us about divisions within each party here right now?
I think a couple of things. I think it tells us that there are indeed divisions among more, but they would classify them as among more conservative and the Senate among conservative Republicans. On the Democratic side, Democrats that want to see a bit more guarantees of concrete information and agreement to limit what it is that DHS is doing in Minneapolis and elsewhere around the country. It also, I think, underscores the fact that the Senate is, as everybody in all the listening audience knows, is a very different body than the U.S. House of Representatives. So they also
Yes, that's very true.
are subject to any particular senator raising a point of order, putting temporary holds, or asking for multiple votes going forward. So that's always going to be a glitch. At the same time, this really raises the pressure on the House side. House Speaker Johnson, with a very narrow majority in the House, is also facing resistance from some House Republicans in particular, as well as House Democrats.
Yeah, the House has been a little bit more problematic than the Senate.
Block things going forward. So there are lots of details that have to be worked out among the negotiating parties.
And we've been talking short-term.
Honestly, TVT, I'm going to give you my honest opinion. He's absolutely going to win. And that's an unbiased, objective opinion, calculated, and he's objectively going to win this. And he's going to win by a long shot, actually. So, you know, it just goes to prove that, well, money doesn't do it all, man. You know, money doesn't get votes completely. Yes, does it help? Of course, man. Money does absolutely help. But money's not what gets you in. And we're proving it. And we're documenting it. It's awesome.
Here, really what to watch the next 24 hours on Capitol Hill, but
Actually, I don't want her to go continue into this because we need to hear what the update is from Luigi Maggioni. Luigi Maggioni won't face death penalty, judge rules. So let's go ahead and get into this real quick, and then we'll close this out. This is our final update for the morning.
Welcome back here on Live Now from Fox. The time 10:36 on the East Coast and 7:36 on the West Coast. You are taking a live look outside of the courthouses this hour as we're following breaking news, a major development in the case against Luigi Mangione, the man accused of assassinating the CEO of United Healthcare in Midtown Manhattan, a judge agreeing to dismiss a federal murder charge against Mangione. Nate Foy at Fox News joining us now live with the latest here. And Nate, yeah, a lot of information just coming in.
Yeah, so the judge just filed some written opinions ahead of the 11 a.m. federal court hearing where Luigi Mangione will appear. There were two big decisions, one of them for...
Yes, it is, by the way.
For his defense, the other one against. But the biggest news here is that the judge dismissed the two most serious charges against Mangione, murder through use of a firearm and another firearms offense, which means that the death penalty is now off the table in this federal case, and New York State doesn't do the death penalty. So that means that Luigi Mangione will not face the death penalty in
definitely interesting
either of his two trials. The other big decision that the judge just shared is a denial of the move by Mangione's defense team to suppress evidence. So they had argued that his constitutional rights were violated during his arrest in Pennsylvania with the search of his backpack and the absence of a search warrant. Inside that backpack, police found the ghost gun that prosecutors allege was the murder weapon, as well as his journal. The judge ruled that evidence will be allowed to be presented at trial. So what does this all mean? We just talked about the death penalty now being off the table. It also impacts the timing of this federal trial.
Brother Hardwire up in the building. Shout out to my man. Hopefully you're enjoying your Friday morning.
Because we know that the jury selection is scheduled for September, and now that Mangione is not facing the most serious charge of murder through use of a firearm, the timing actually moves up to possibly October for the start of this trial, whereas it would have been January had the judge made the different decision today. It's also competing with the state case, where the Manhattan DA's office wants to start the state trial on July 1st. Mangione's defense team has an official...
Yeah, actually, she got used to it right away. There was no, she didn't, know what to do. No, she knew exactly what to fucking do when she got it. So it was awesome.
Actually responded to that, but they did put out a statement saying that's unrealistic and they need more time to prepare for a trial. So the feds and the state are sort of angling to get this case first. Each of them wants to go first. They'll get more media attention if it's first. And the state argues this is more of a state issue rather than a federal issue. But we'll see exactly how things shake out. With today's ruling, it actually bumps up the timeline relative to what it could have been had Mangione faced that more serious charge. But the big news is that he's no longer facing the death penalty because that was only possible under that most serious charge.
Nate, obviously, as you mentioned, a lot of developments here, but I also want to
Wait, you guys got the Rona, actually? Oh, shit. I'm sorry to hear that. That's terrible. It's terrible
news. About
news.
another situation that's developing as well. A man who was arrested for an alleged jailbreak situation involving Mangione. What can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so Mangione will arrive here today from the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. And earlier this week, just kind of a crazy story, a Minnesota man got arrested for impersonating an FBI officer and claiming that he was there to release a prisoner. And that prisoner was Mangione, and he was found with a pizza cutter and a...
Yeah, he was caught with a pizza cutter. I heard about this yesterday on social media.
Barbecue fork. So that man is facing charges. Obviously, his plan didn't work. We have seen
a pizza cutter, my homie. Come on, bro. If you're gonna do it, like, you used a pizza cutter to try to bail him, get him out of prison.
some people here today outside the courthouse. There was 2 people with a sign that said drop the charges, and the charges are not dropped. He still is facing 2 counts of stalking in this federal case, which does carry the possibility of life in prison. But it's big news that he is no longer charged with murder through use of a firearm, and the death penalty is off the table. So it's been a wild week with that attempted jailbreak in Brooklyn.
JR is JR Bowling, the man that's running for Alabama State Senate. I'm also his campaign manager. Anyways.
And then today we'll see Mangione in a federal courtroom at 11 a.m.
All right. Nate Foy there at Fox News. As always, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
All right.
You got it, Josh. Have a good day.
That is our last update. Wow, what a freaking morning. I told you guys we were trying to, stay under an hour and a half, definitely. But I knew that we were going to go over by about 15, 20 minutes today. That was a big morning. So anyways, until tomorrow morning, or for members only, by the way, because unfortunately we do this Monday through Friday. Then we got members only for Saturday for you guys. And then, of course, we got Sunday off, and then we return Monday morning again at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. So make sure you guys hit that like button, double tap that screen if you're on the vertical side, as well as hit that subscribe button, man. Listen, this is what we do Monday through Friday, man. So thank you all very much. Make sure you guys stick around. We're going to be rating our buddy Sterling Wheel. He's doing a premiere right now. So make sure you guys go in there, like and comment. And if you guys haven't subscribed to him yet, please do. And I very much appreciate all of you guys. Much love, honor, respect, everybody. God bless everyone, and we'll see you guys very soon. Stay safe, and also stay warm out there.
From the depths of darkness, a voice emerges, a host with a fire burning in his soul. With a heart, steel, and a spirit unbroken, he rides on 2 wheels, ready to claim his throne. Amidst the chaos and the thunderous roar, insane wheels rise as a force to be reckoned with. Fueled by the power that only metal can bestow, he takes his stand, refusing to submit.